Living in the end. What does it mean, and how do you do it properly? And more importantly, what to avoid, because this can be a complicated subject. So this video is going to answer these important questions, as well as dispel some myths around the process, because a lot of people confuse and misinterpret Neville Goddards' work in general on YouTube. But living from the end is most often muddled up with acting as if, and they are not the same. They are two very different things, and this is a real test of faith. Living in the end is the most important rule of all manifestation. It's a non-negotiable, and from what I have learned working with one-to-one clients, is the number one reason why they have not manifested their desires. So this is super important. Stay tuned to the end, because I'll be including the exact manifestation mechanism and the role of the 3D so that you can get started immediately. But before we dive right in, my name is Frances, and I live and teach the journey of I Am, which is the biblical approach to becoming a conscious manifester, otherwise known as the journey to Christ consciousness, to your I Am state of being, taking reference from Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, Bashar, and other prominent spiritual teachers, whilst combining this with my studies and my background of neuroscience and teaching my mastery, which I did for the past 8 years. I am not here to tell you just to believe or recite an affirmation, ever. That is very surface level advice, which helps no one. I'm a solutionist by nature, and I like to target and resolve the root cause of what's preventing you from embodying your desire. And because everyone has a different starting point, on this channel I share the how, the what, and the why we are doing something, because I appreciate many of you who are just starting need to have definitive answers, just like I did, especially as manifestation is very paradoxical in nature and requires a lot of blind faith in the beginning stages. So let's get some clarity on this. Living from the end means to think from your higher mind's perspective. Very important, because you must do this no matter what technique you use. Now, some teachers like Abraham Hicks and Dr. Joe Dispenza refer to the higher mind as divine source energy, whereas Jesus, and of course Neville Goddard, whose work is sourced from scripture, calls this God, also referred to as the I Am state of being. Now, in order for you to properly think from the higher mind's perspective, so as to live in the end, you've got to stop blaming outside sources such as third parties, banks, corporations, the economy, your boss, your job, government, family members, neighbours, distance, your salary, location, friends, and all of that stuff for why you don't have what you desire. And start thinking from the position of already having that which you desire right now in the present tense. So this means if you're manifesting money and clients from, let's say, running a successful business, you cannot continue to tell the story of how you don't have money, why you can't earn more money than you do now, how long that would take for you to earn that amount of money, why you have no clients, what you need to do to get more clients. In other words, you're going to cut out any line of thinking that resonates with you having to get something, acquire something, or what you don't have, because it is never, and I repeat, never your responsibility, your job role to figure out the how. And manifesting the how is extremely limiting anyway, and can sound a bit like this. My boss will give me that raise. My clients will come from social media. My money will come into this bank account. Your human mind cannot fathom or predict where that success or money can come from. It can only guess a few options based on your past experiences to date. It is limited. But the higher mind, God, is not. And that is God's responsibility. So you must shift to the position of having it right now. And that storyline would sound more like this. Gosh, my business has really taken off. This has become something way bigger than I could have ever expected. It's actually incredible that I'm in such high demand, because I love doing what I do. I love being of service to people, and it's just amazing that I'm getting paid to do what I love. and the feedback and reviews I get are just confirmation that I'm on the right track, and it encourages other people to book with me. Every week I'm getting more and more clients without even trying, because God knows that I'm so good at what I do. The reviews they leave me are just incredible. I love being so abundant financially because it enables me to do what I want to do and help other people. That's the story that you're telling. So for your SP, even if they're in a third-party situation right now, you have to stop focusing on why you aren't together, what they are doing wrong, where they are in the world, what it means that they are with someone else, trying to make them break up, why they will never come back, and all the negative connotations you associate with what they say and do on social media. How long has it been since you broke up? Thinking about the reasons why you broke up, what you did wrong, what they did wrong, and all the things you'll have to go through in order to reconcile. Because it doesn't matter how often you visualize with any desire you're manifesting. If you are dominantly telling the story of and focusing upon all the reasons why you can't have something or someone, that is what will manifest, because that's what you're dominantly focused on, and what you dominantly focus on becomes your vibration. The words you speak, the thoughts you think dictate how you feel, and how you feel influences your actions and behaviors. So you got to drop it all and start telling the story of how you desire it to be as if it was happening right now. And you're going to journal that and add to that. The more and more you're focused on it, the more and more you experience it. And it will read something like this. I love the fact that he or she is so attentive to me. We got on so well and spend ages talking. Our connection is better than it ever was before. I love the fact that we're deciding whether we want children or not, and realize what a big decision that is. He is such a good provider, or she is such a good provider. He or she is so supportive of what I do, even when I was having a hard day at work. To know that they are there is so comforting and understanding. I love the way that they cuddle me. We have the same goals in life, and I love sharing ideas with them and how encouraging we are of one another. That's the story you're going to tell. If you need more help with this, I have a service dedicated to it because it's that important, called Storytelling for Manifestation. I'll link it in the description box below for you. And we can do it for the whole 2 hours or break it up into 2 calls, but it is a thorough lesson and guide for writing this correctly for all areas of your life, because my story is pages and pages long and I'm constantly adding to it. So once you have your story, you need to persist in telling it, okay? And this is another really important part in this manifestation mechanism. You must persist in telling this new story, which feels really amazing, regardless of what is happening out there in the 3D, because the higher mind, your I am state that you can never be separated from, can only ever match the vibration you are offering, because it can only ever say yes to you. It has absolutely zero judgment. It can offer absolutely no discernment as to whether the vibration you're offering is negative or positive. Which means whether you're emitting the vibration of need, lack, wanting, being without, or whether you're emitting the vibration and frequency of being prosperous, abundant in your desires, it will deliver that, because you can only manifest who you are conscious of being, otherwise known as embodying the state of the person who has their desire now. So for example, you have to be the person who's with your SP. You have to be the person who has the success now, who has the money now. So what God, the universe, the higher mind delivers is solely dictated by you. And if you don't have your desire now, it's most often because the storyline of what you don't want is more dominant than what you do want. And it does this because part of being a creator or a chooser of our reality is that we must have complete freedom of choice. So no one is preventing you from having that which you desire other than you. You see, the higher mind, it already knows you have everything you could ever want or need, right? It knows you are reality in its entirety. And manifestation is merely the act of choosing to make the invisible visible. And what makes the invisible visible is dictated by your beliefs, because beliefs shape your perception of what's available to you. From the higher mind's position, There's no lack, no doubt, no fear, no concept of I can't have or I'm without, because it's a matter of choice, of choosing to embody the state of the person who has their desire now or not. Make sense? And this is where living in the end serves as really good practice, really good training for stepping into that level of consciousness, for stepping into that I am state of being, and not just for material manifestation of the specific desire you want, because you will always want other things besides this. You want to create a loving, joyous human life experience, even in the day-to-day, right? It's not just about getting the ring or getting back together. You might want another job, you might want a house, you might want a car, you might want a holiday, you might want good health. You don't want to rely on luck or tricks to get a one-off conscious miracle, right? Being a conscious manifester is learning how to have repeat success at will, which is what I teach here in this channel and in my programs. So now would be a really good time to subscribe and join our community. Now let's recap with some things to look out for, because as I stated in the intro, everyone's starting point is different. So number one, living from the end means to think from the higher mind's perspective, from the position of having that which you already desire to have. I write this down as if it is a journal entry, and I'm reflecting back and then planning what I want to do next. Number two, you've got to drop, and this will take practice, but you've got to drop all thoughts that suggest you do not have your desire. This includes how your desire is going to arrive, checking for movement, checking for change, all third-party situations, as if there's even a position available in your work for the role you want, where the money will come from, where it is, where it's going to come from, the work it would take to get back together. I could go on and on and on. All of these things, you've just got to drop them. Everything you write has to imply you already have it now, okay? Number three, you have to place more faith in God, your higher mind, than you do in fear. This means if you're starting fresh and have little to no experience consciously manifesting, you must persist in the storyline of having it now, because you are reality in its entirety, and out there the 3D is just a three-dimensional representation of your internal state. It's a reflection of reality, which is you. It's not a separate version of reality with its own independent power. It is designed to teach you what you believe to be true about yourself and the world you live in, so you can choose to make changes. You don't need to ignore it, you just need to persist in the new storyline. Now, the level of difficulty of this will be dependent on your mental health state and how much of a contrast it is from where you are now to where you want to be in your new version of reality that you're choosing. Some manifestations come very fast when it's not such a big change, and sometimes chaos ensues and it appears everything is going wrong, and other times it's a walk in the park. Okay, it all depends on your starting point, the supporting beliefs you may or may not currently have, but you must persist in the new storyline no matter what, and you will embody it. And when you do, you will naturally drop the subject of manifesting it at all. You won't have to repeat the storyline, because you would have become the person with your desire, the belief would have been formed, and that storyline will be on repeat subconsciously. I'm sending you so much love. I'm sure this was of service to you. Let me know what your key takeaways were in the comments below. Thank you so much for all the likes, shares, saves and comments. Sending you love, my brothers and sisters in Christ. And here is what YouTube thinks you should watch next.